What's up, Wisconsin DECA? Welcome back to another episode of the Competitive Excellence Series. Today, we'll be discussing creating engaging visual aids for presentations. I'm Aubrey McGuire, a sophomore and Vice President of Competitive Events at Arrowhead High School. My Instagram account username is aubs.mcguire in case anyone has any questions or wants to follow up on the episode. Moving on, we're going to be specifically just focusing on creating visuals for projects or the written events. The first thing with visual aids is that they are visual. They should be easy to understand, not have to be explained in depth. Instead, focus on supplementing your presentation with your visual. The second thing with visual aids is that they are aids. It can often be confusing or tricky for your judge to understand a whole new topic with your visual. So instead, use your visual to supplement a previous topic, elaborate more on that, especially if it's really complex, has multiple layers, really just try to dig into that one specific aspect. However, what might be most important to your visuals is that they're easy to read and understandable. There's a really fine line between too minimal that it might just be better not to include the visual at all, and then overwhelming the information with graphics and really just confusing your judge further. You want your visuals to be concise and to the point, and really only include the information that's relevant to the specific point you're making. For example, a flowchart might be an excellent way to show your judges progressions of a plan. If you have different steps to, say, franchising a business, this might be an excellent way to demonstrate that. But if you add too many different arrows or steps and really just crowd your visual in general, it may be hard for your judge to follow and instead just hurt your performance. Now I'm going to go over what some specific visuals are good for. For example, pie charts are good at showing percentages of people, distribution of a budget, the allocation of the budget, really just whenever you have percentages though. Videos are great for promo clips, demonstration of a product, event promos, really just gathering that visual excitement around the thing. Charts are good for demographics, budget factors, really just showing how you can compare and contrast different things. And then flow charts are great because, like I said earlier, they show progression of plans. In your presentation, you can choose to use a computer or a flipbook style of presentation. And either way, you can put the visuals directly on the slide for easier view for your judge. You can dedicate a whole slide to a visual or split up the page for both the text and the visual. Simply, whichever way works best to show your creativity. What might sound like common sense, but is really essential to your presentation, is making sure that your visual ties into a specific aspect or aspects of your presentation. A frequent mistake might be including a visual for something that it wouldn't really aid with. For example, a smaller part of the presentation, a visual will just take more time away, explaining how the visual connects to the smaller part of the presentation, really just not giving you enough of those 15 minutes to elaborate on the more important, more essential points that give you more of your points in your presentation to your judge. Good areas for visuals might include calendar, budgets, distributions, projections, or other types of charts. You should understand what the exact idea of your visual is for, what use it has, and how it aids to your presentation while making the visual having the specific end goal in mind. This ensures that necessary elements are included and that those that aren't are excluded for clarity. Now we will look at some of my personal examples of visual aids from last year when I competed in an integrated marketing campaign event at both state and ICDC. The first example is of my poster board I used to supplement my presentation on a tennis event. My goal was to make this look as clean looking as possible while getting across the main points of my presentation. My campaign activities were essential to my presentation, so by incorporating them on my poster board, I was able to make sure they were always in the judge's mind. Social media posts were also key to my campaign activities, so I included several sample posts. The pros box was simply to promote the players as they are what the event is all centered around. The empty box I had cut out and taped a tablet into, playing a series of event promotional videos and real footage from match play from the event. Below was a project timeline showing the progression of the event. On the next page is a picture of myself holding the poster board to show its size, layout, and how it looks with the tablet playing the video. Now, I think it's very important to mention that by including a video, that it doesn't take away from what you're saying, but rather adds to it. So ensure that your video is not distracting. It is also beneficial to refer to it if you have one, along with other parts of the poster board at specific times in your presentation. On the final page is a page for my written portion of my product. I want to specifically point out the flowchart at the top with a clear visualization of how to advance. I made sure I designed it in a way that was easy to read and not overpopulated with arrows or text box. Below that is a chart introducing the players and a few of their stats, so the judge is somewhat familiar if I decide to refer to any in particular. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to another episode of Wisconsin DECA's Competitive Excellence Series. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions, and good luck at state and ICDC, everyone.